Fight, flight, freeze or fawn. How childhood trauma shapes adult defences and how to heal. Hi, I'm Dr. Tony Weston. In today's video, we're exploring how our body's natural responses to trauma, fight, flight, freeze and fawn, develop in childhood as protective mechanisms and later evolve into emotional and psychological defences in adulthood. We'll discuss the effects of these responses on both ourselves and our relationships, and most importantly, how we can overcome them for better mental and emotional well-being. So what are the fight, flight, freeze and fawn responses? Let's start by understanding what the fight, flight, freeze and fawn responses are. These are automatic reactions that are hardwired into our nervous system as survival strategies. So firstly, fight, confronting the threat head on, whether through verbal or physical aggression. Secondly, flight, escaping or avoiding the danger altogether, often by withdrawing or isolating. 3, freeze, becoming immobilised, feeling stuck or powerless, unable to act. 4, fawn, appeasing or pleasing the perceived threat to stay safe, often at the cost of our own needs. These responses are critical for survival during traumatic experiences, particularly in childhood where we may not have had the power to change our environment. How childhood trauma turns into adult defences. A quiz question I sometimes ask clients is, which one of the 4 F's is the best one? Which one should you always use? The answer is none of them. Our responses should depend upon the situation we find ourselves in. When trauma occurs in childhood, whether it's emotional neglect, abuse or chronic stress, these responses become ingrained. Many of us then have our go-to response. For example, it doesn't matter what the situation is, I just get angry. This is because children in these traumatic situations often develop these survival strategies as a way to feel safe in an unsafe world. Unfortunately, as we grow up, these responses can persist long after the threat is gone. For example, if you learn to fawn as a child, you may continue people-pleasing in adulthood, even in situations where it's unnecessary or even harmful to our own well-being. Similarly, someone who developed a flight response might avoid confrontation or difficult conversations, even when they're crucial to healthy relationships. So what are the physical, psychological and emotional effects of this? These defences don't just disappear as we age. They often become more deeply rooted, impacting us in profound ways. So firstly, physically, our body might stay in a state of chronic stress. This can lead to issues like fatigue, muscle tension, headaches, and even long-term conditions like heart disease. Secondly, psychologically, you might find it difficult to trust others, develop patterns of self-sabotage, or struggle with anxiety and depression. Your mind is wired to expect danger, even when none is present. Next, emotionally, you may experience emotional numbness, difficulty forming close relationships, or an inability to assert your own needs. In some cases, you may overreact to minor stresses because your mind and body are conditioned to prepare for the worst. How these defences impact our relationships. These automatic responses also affect how we interact with others. If we're always in fight mode, for example, we may become overly defensive or confrontational in our relationships, pushing people away. If we default to flight, we might withdraw emotionally, making it hard for loved ones to connect with us. Those who freeze might seem emotionally unavailable, while those who fawn can become overly accommodating, sacrificing their own needs in the process. Understanding these dynamics is key to improving relationships, whether they're romantic, familial, or professional. Recognising how trauma has shaped these patterns can help you start the journey of healing. So how to overcome these trauma responses? The good news is that you can heal from these responses. It takes time, but with the right tools, you can move past these automatic defences and develop healthier, more appropriate coping mechanisms. Here's how. So firstly, awareness. The first step is recognising when we're triggered into one of these automatic responses. Journaling, meditation, or simply pausing to reflect in stressful moments can help us identify our default pattern. Secondly, grounding techniques. When we feel a fight, flight, freeze or fawn response kicking in, we can use grounding techniques to bring ourselves back to the present moment. Deep breathing, focusing on our senses, or repeating a calming phrase can help. 3. Therapy can help you process past trauma and rewire your responses. 4. Emotional resilience. Building emotional resilience involves gradually exposing yourself to the triggers that normally set off these responses. Over time, you can learn to tolerate discomfort without defaulting to fight, flight, freeze or fawn. 5. Practice self-compassion. Healing is a slow process, and it's crucial to be kind to ourselves as we work through these deeply ingrained responses. The importance of support. It's important to remember that you don't have to go through this alone. Support from loved ones, trauma-informed therapists, or even online communities can be instrumental in healing. Sharing our experiences and learning from others can be a powerful part of the recovery process. So, in conclusion, understanding how the fight, flight, freeze or fawn responses shape our adult behaviours is the first step towards healing. By gaining awareness, practicing grounding techniques, seeking therapy and building emotional resilience, we can break free from these automatic responses and build healthier, more fulfilling relationships with ourselves and others. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on mental health and trauma recovery.